Who will lead Iowa in scoring this season, and who will be the biggest surprise of that team? Interesting question, because we have no idea what that team's going to look like still. Obviously, they made their signings right before that last episode that we did, right, that free agency. So, I mean, it really does depend. I would be shocked if Rossi's there ever again. I think he's probably going to be on that NHL team full time now. So Rossi's probably gone. We'll see what happens with Beckman. He has a good chance that he makes the team out of camp, at least while Greenway's getting healthy. So he might not even be there, at least for the start of the year. I don't really know how long Greenway's going to be out, but if Beckman does make the team and he's in that slot, he's not coming back for a little bit. So that would, mess with his numbers a little bit. And I mean, you got guys like Sweeney and Chafee who are also up high on that team with points. They're looking for spots too. So, just looking at the team now, I'd probably go with Mason Shaw. He was right up there last year, had a really, really, really good year. Produced and was putting up crazy PIMs just like everybody else. But he's a guy, he'll probably be there all year long. So, your money's probably on a guy like Mason Shaw. You never count out like a kid like Stephen Fogarty, who I talked about before. He was really good in Providence. He'll probably be getting that top line center role, assuming Rossi's not back. But, it'll be a big year for him too. But, it's either between those veterans or, again, you're looking at guys like Mason Shaw, if Mitchell, Chafee, and Swain are there the whole year. Even a kid like Nick Patan, who knows? But I would say that I would probably give it to Mason Shaw just because I feel like he is going to be there all year long. And he with how he played last year. We'll see what his line looks like, I guess. I'm curious to see what these lines end up looking like. That's probably what you're looking at, a kid like Mason Shaw or one of Sweeney or Chafee or one of the vets that they brought in. And then in terms of the biggest surprise of that team, it's a good question. I wouldn't be surprised if you see one of those young defensemen just come in and absolutely tear it up, like a Ryan O'Rourke, not with points necessarily, but just dominating and kind of turning into, a top pair D-man down there. Because, I mean, again, we've talked about this before. He fit right in those 30 some odd games that he played during the COVID year. Obviously, there's a little bit of adjustment, but then all of a sudden he was one of their best defensemen that season already. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he just comes in, plays really well, establishes himself, and giving himself chances to get a look from Minnesota. I mean, I don't know how likely that is, just because you look at the fact that there are so many defensemen on that NHL team already, and he's super young, and but he's a kid that I would look at and say, I bet you he could be poised to have a big year and kind of put himself on the map more than he already is. And then a kid like Jesper Wallstedt too. I know the expectations are super high, but again, how many times do I have to say the kid plays like a pro, and he's been playing pro hockey, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just kind of took over that job as their number one and just really dominated in the net. So those would be my two guys. And then, if you wanted a sleeper, maybe a first off, maybe he just lights it up. It's a kid that rises to the occasions. He plays well in big games. You look at this season, you look at the regular season, he didn't put up tons and tons of points, but he scored huge goals in every single playoff game. So, and I thought he actually looked really good in Iowa, the couple of games that he did play in, grabbed a couple of really nice assists. So if he gets a top 6 role or even top 9 role, depending on who he's playing with, he has a playmaking center with him. That's a kid I'd look at and say, hey, look at the prospect pool, man. Between the guys that they brought in, the young players that are already there, you really got to kind of pop if you want a chance here. So if you want a sleeper, I'd go first off, maybe even a Hedges. But those would be my picks for that question.